If you asked me at the top of the year what would be the most important cars launching in 2020, well, the top three would undoubtedly be the Creta, the City, and this car. The Kia Sonet is finally here. It's making its world debut here in India. It is a big deal because this is Kia's next big global model, and we've got all the details just like you've been wanting to know.
So much anticipation around the all-new and first-ever Kia Sonet. The subcompact SUV was in the works even before Kia opened its innings in India a year ago, and yes, this is intended to be a global model. But like the Seltos a year ago, the little sibling is also hitting our market first. And the Seltos has been a runaway success. Can the Sonet dominate this other high-volume segment?
Gotta have that two-tone roof these days, right? Yes, it's a modern design element. It makes the car look contemporary in terms of shape and proportion. It is very much the chunky SUV, and it'll remind you more in terms of shape and attribute of the overall look of the car of the Ford EcoSport. Not so much cars like the XUV 300 or the Vitara Brezza or even the Venue, which are a little bit more rectangular. So I like that because it gives the car a different kind of stance. Now, the whole upright, chunky, boxy, muscular sort of stance that I am talking about gets really enhanced by this hood. You can see these nice little scooped up elements, gives a lot of height to the hood in the middle. High gloss black grille up front, nicely bordered by chrome, which is got that little texture in it, just like on the Seltos. What you don't get, of course, is the Seltos like big continuous LED DRL. Instead, you have this one, which, yes, right now is being sort of alluded to the vampire's teeth, but it's more of the heartbeat that Kia is known for. The bumper itself is nice and chunky as well, and this is the GT line, which is why you have so many of the red elements in the grille and the red elements down here, and even this little styling element, which gives the car a certain character. You'll only get that on the GT line. Fog lamp, and overall the skid plate down here, the impression is very much SUV and yet very conveniently staying in that subcompact footprint.
The Sonet is a looker, and I have to say the GT line looks more aggressive and sexier than the Tech line, especially that front bumper. Those are the two design trims you can expect. The Sonet first showed up as a concept car at the Delhi Auto Expo. The production version is very close to that concept's design, which is great. You see the car on your screen sports a new gold color. That will be the new color for the Sonet. The rest would be similar to what you've seen on the Seltos.
At the back, the car's design remains true to the concept in many ways. Yes, that's a good thing because the proportion really does work. You also get a bit of a lift in this design from the back because it is so vertical back here. From an SUV sensibility, that's a good thing because people are going to appreciate that. The other thing that I think does work is this element of connecting the tail lights. This is not a lit element, it's just a reflector, but it gives you a sense of width and makes the boot look a little bit more ample than it actually is. The taillights are of course LED, and you do have the little heartbeat motif just to complement the overall theme. They call it wild, remember. Down here, you see red bits from the GT line, so of course that's got to do with the trim, as I've said before. You do have a very sporty stance here. You know, you've got the skid plate and the diffuser, and also the four twin exhaust element. That's just a design detail, but yes, it does look nice. It makes the car have a nicer stance, look a little bit sporty. The boot itself, well, you might not think it's too big, but take a look. From this particular segment's point of view, that there is pretty ample. After the Seltos and the Carnival, it's no surprise you did expect this cabin to be fairly impressive, and it does impress you on design and layout. And remember, at the Auto Expo, we never got to see the car from the inside on that concept that was displayed. So this whole layout is new for us. It is smart, it's modern, it's different too. And I like the fact that there are these chunky buttons here for the climate control. The AC vents, extremely different, and they have that little signature pattern that you also see down here in the gearbox housing. That's the same sort of pattern. It complements what the front grille has, what the Seltos had. So that's a nice signature. I like that. This is now the GT line, so which is why it's black, and you got red stitching on the seats. You got red stitching on the steering, the GT line badging as well. And the whole all black treatment does work. I mean, my fear was it's going to make the cabin look really small, but thankfully that doesn't happen. There is a sunroof. Yes, this is the top end trim, obviously. You have the segment first 10.25-inch touchscreen, which is great because I think that's going to impress a lot of people. It's also really well laid out. Instrument cluster is digital. You've got a whole lot going on there in terms of information. And the animations, again, fresh, different for this segment. I like that. The bad bits, the plastics, well, the surface up here is not so bad. I think it has a decent tactile feel. But down here, I mean, yes, I understand this is a budget segment, but the plastics down there could have been a whole lot better. This just feels a little bit more Maruti-like. The gearbox, well, this is the GT line with the DCT and the GDI engine. Lots of controls on the steering wheel and interesting little design elements. That's the part that does impress you because you can see there's a lot of thought that's been put in. On the AC vents, I already talked about it. Even the speakers, they have that little bit of a geometric diamond pattern, and it all comes together to make the car look really high-end, and people are going to like that in this segment. Seat, fairly comfortable. Another grouse I have is that this is a steering that can be adjusted for height, but not for reach. So it's not telescopic. That's a big no for me. But the wireless charger, I'm sure that, of course, only happens at the top end. But it's nice that it has its own tray and it spares up this extra room, just like in the Seltos. That's a thoughtful, good design detail. Connectivity, well, you've got UVO Connect, of course, and you have voice commands.
How can I help you?
Cancel. Not much I can do while I'm indoors with the car, but what I'm trying to say is it has the entire connectivity suite that you saw on the Seltos and the Carnival. And yes, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto goes without saying.
The 4.2-inch instrument console screen display has lots of information. That includes turn-by-turn navigation, tire pressure monitoring, and also tells you which drive mode you're in. If you are an audiophile, the Sonet also gets a 7-speaker Bose audio system with a subwoofer along with LED sound mood lamps to get the ambience going. The other first-in-segment feature is that the Sonet is programmed to receive over-the-air updates for maps and navigation. Top-spec models get remote engine start via the Kia UVO Connect app.
It's just a small design detail, sort of like a quarter glass, but it does help enhance the sense of space on the inside. On a subcompact, I'll take it. That's a smart thing and nicely done. I've also done the usual where I've pushed that seat all the way forward, this one all the way back. This is a first impression. Want to just try and give you a sense of space that you get in here. And I have to say, for a subcompact, again, that is not bad at all. Rear AC vents, again, finished the same way as in the front. USB charging point, always welcome. Drop-down armrest, well, almost becoming a standard sort of a thing these days with the cup holders, but I am waiting for the time when a car maker decides to make the middle passenger's seat belt also a 3-point seat belt. So for now, you just get a lap belt, which by law is all you need. But otherwise, the seat itself, the angle, the under-thigh support, and yes, the leg room, it is actually quite smartly done. You feel upright like you're in an SUV, and yet you get a sense of comfort. There's a good amount of headroom as well. So yes, I think the Sonet scores quite nicely on the back seat overall. And then yes, you've also got the air purifier that's been thrown in. That is a top-end feature, and you also get ventilated seats up front as a top-end feature, of course. these are some nice little segment firsts which pamper you and which also become practical in today's environment.
And with the ongoing corona crisis, Kia says the air purifier comes with virus protection too. That's very apt given the COVID times we live in. While the GT line trim gives you an all-black interior with those red elements, the Tech line will give you a lighter palette on the seats and the lower half of the doors and dash. Safety is well addressed. 2/3 of the chassis is made up of advanced high-strength steel, making for a frame that is light yet strong. The Sonet gets up to 6 airbags, anti-lock brakes, hill assist, stability control, brake assist and ISOFIX anchors for child seats. The Kia Sonet shares its platform with cars like the Hyundai Venue and Grand i10 Neos, and so like the Venue, the Sonet is expected to sport 3 engine options. The petrol side will have the 1-litre GDI turbo and the 1.2, while the diesel will be the 1.5 common rail. Kia had already announced at the Auto Expo that there will be a variant with IMT or Intelligent Manual Transmission. The Hyundai Venue recently received this variant too. The transmission is expected only on the 1-litre GDI, which is also the only one with the option of the 7-speed DCT or dual clutch automatic transmission.
I am expecting a lot of variants on this car, and pricing should fall in the 7 to 12 lakh rupee category, and that is pretty competitive if that is where Kia goes with it. We'll wait for that. But you see 7 DCT here, which tells you that this is the GDI engine with that 7-speed automatic gearbox, which is getting the Kia Hyundai Group a lot of love these days. Now, that badging is a little too loud and big and a little too MG-like for my liking. Yes, you also get the IMT now on the manual. That's, again, not a segment first. The Venue has it too, but it's something that should catch on. You do get the IMT badging on that variant if that's the one you opt for. But when you talk about the segment, the other big USP, there's also going to be a diesel automatic, which I think a lot of people are going to like.
Yes, a diesel auto is a great idea, as it's sorely missing in this segment. I welcome that move from Kia. The brand does have the power to surprise after all, doesn't it? Even the Seltos had impressed with its multiple gearbox offer, and the Sonet follows suit. Excellent. Besides the Hyundai Venue, the Sonet also needs to take on the Tata Nexon, Mahindra XUV 300, Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza, Ford EcoSport, the upcoming Nissan Magnite and Toyota Urban Cruiser, and to an extent, the Honda WRV2. The Kia Sonet launches by mid-September, and I reckon this is another potential blockbuster in the making for Kia.
It looks sharp and sporty. It's well proportioned too. But the chiseled bodywork may not be to everyone's liking. You'd either like the way it looks, or you'll end up looking at other bikes in the segment. But it's definitely one of the better looking hero motorcycles available right now.
The Xtreme 160R is Hero MotoCorp's first new motorcycle in the premium commuter segment, the 160cc segment, which has got quite a few established rivals. Now this one is all new from the ground up, so all new design, all new engine, fuel injected of course, and a new lightweight diamond frame. That's what we're riding today to see what exactly does it offer. Does it have the goods to take the fight to establish rivals like the TVS Apache RTR 164V, the Suzuki Gixxer, and most importantly the Bajaj Pulsar 150. Of course, this is not a comparison, but we'll see what exactly the Xtreme 160R offers in this segment.
The face is modern, with an LED headlight, DRL, LED turn indicators, and even the blacked out tail light is LED. The instrument console is digital with trip meters, a fuel gauge and the usual odometer, speedometer and rev counter. A gear position indicator is missed and fuel consumption readings would have definitely added more value. However, the side stand indicator is a handy feature and it cuts off the engine if you engage a gear when the side stand is down. But the plastic mud flap at the rear, which mounts the indicators and the number plate, does look a bit out of place. Overall, the design is pleasing to the eye, if not outstanding. Straight off the bat, the Xtreme 160R comes across as a friendly and light motorcycle. The 2-valve engine is smooth and acceleration is quite decent. It's tuned for a strong low and mid-range, so that actually works pretty well, so long as you're not in a hurry to get to triple-digit speeds. 60 km per hour comes quickly and the dash to 80 doesn't feel very lethargic either. It's only when you chase 100 and above that the Xtreme 160R begins to let you down. Ride quality is plush and comfortable, and the single channel ABS works pretty well too. But what makes an immediate impression is the way it tackles quick direction changes.
So the new 163cc engine makes about 15 bhp of power, 14 Nm of torque, quite comparable to rivals in its segment. But what's immediately likable about the Xtreme 160R is it's light, it's nimble to handle, it's very agile, especially in traffic, it's very easy to maneuver. So even for riders who are upgrading from 100cc bikes, the weight, the lightweight feel and the taut handling makes it easy to flick in and out of traffic. So if you're using it as a daily commute, it's very likable, very light on its feet and quite nice. So you can ride it all day stress-free between 65, 70 and even 85 km per hour. And if you want to do a slightly longer ride, 90-95 km, easy peasy. Top speed I managed to clock about 115 km per hour, but given a longer stretch of road, it will probably go to about 117 or maybe 118, but that's about it. 100 kilometers come quite easy, but beyond 100, it takes some time to get there.
With prices starting at just under 1 lakh rupees, the Xtreme 160R is not just the most affordable motorcycle in its segment, but also offers good fuel economy. Traits which make it seemingly very attractive to the discerning buyer. But it will face an uphill task on established rivals like the Suzuki Gixxer, the TVS Apache RTR 164V and even the Honda X-Blade. Eventually, it will boil down to not just styling and performance, but more importantly, also to image and appeal. It's definitely a good bike, the new Xtreme 160R. There's no doubt about that. And it has all the qualities to make it appealing to potential buyers. The only thing it lacks is that spark, that special feeling which makes you go, wow. And that can make all the difference between a good and a truly great motorcycle.
Now, the gold car that I showed you in detail was the GT line. This is the tech line, which means there will be 2 trims on the Sonet. And other information like variants and pricing, that of course is something we'll only find out when the market launch happens, which isn't so far away. It's an important car for the market, you've got to react to it. Please keep your feedback coming. Please wear your masks if you're stepping out, carry your sanitizers, and definitely wear your seat belts. I'll see you next week.